Welcome to The Explainer. We're diving straight into what has to be one of the most wild corporate uncouplings in tech history. Seriously, this is a situation that is completely rewriting the rulebook for global technology deals. We are looking at a massive collision between artificial intelligence, geopolitical boundaries, and a billion-dollar deal that was literally forced to be completely undone.
To set the stage for all this, picture this. It's late December 2025, and Meta drops an absolute bombshell. They announced the acquisition of this rising AI agent developer called Manus. And this wasn't some small pickup. This was a blockbuster deal, reported at a staggering $2 billion. Meta was obviously looking to supercharge its consumer and enterprise products, and Manus just seemed like the perfect, globally structured company to help them pull that off.
But here is the massive geopolitical twist. That acquisition, it didn't last. Chinese regulators actually stepped in, explicitly blocked the deal, and forced a complete operational and data separation by August of 2026. Think about that for a second. Meta, this massive American tech giant, was essentially ordered to give the company back. So to break this all down today, we're going to look at the initial reversal to clear up some big misconceptions. Then we'll go step by step through the anatomy of the unwind, uncover the hidden signal about AI deals that the industry is waking up to, and finally, look at who actually wins and loses in the fallout. Let's get right into it.
All right, part one, the $2 billion reversal. Before we get into the crazy mechanics of this breakup, we really need to set the record straight on what actually happened.
First up, we've got to talk about the money, because there's a really crucial distinction to make here. You've probably seen that $2 billion headline plastered everywhere. But we have to remember, $2 billion was merely the reported transaction value at the time the deal was announced. It is absolutely not a confirmed cash loss for Meta. Public sources simply haven't established what the exact breakup costs were or the unwind payments, or even what the post-separation capital structure looks like now. So yes, it's a massive deal that fell through, but we have to keep that transaction value distinct from any undisclosed financial loss Meta might have actually taken.
And then there's the user data side of things, because obviously a separation like this inevitably impacts the end users. As part of this breakup, Manus had to notify its users that data generated after the acquisition date was being backed up and deleted between August 23rd and 24th before being restored. But here is the key thing. Manus explicitly stated that this user data migration is strictly a regulatory requirement to execute the separation. It is not a data breach. Unaffected users can continue on normally. It's purely an administrative, regulatory data migration.
Now you might be wondering, why was Meta so obsessed with Manus in the first place? Why spend $2 billion? Well, Manus builds AI agents, and as we know, these sit way about your standard foundation models. Instead of just spitting out an answer to a prompt, an agent executes complex, multi-step workflows. We're talking conducting market research, analyzing giant data sets, writing complex code. And Manus was crushing it. They had processed over 147 trillion tokens, they boasted a $125 million revenue run rate, and they were serving millions of active users. This was a total crown jewel acquisition, clearly designed to help Meta go toe-to-toe with OpenAI and Google.
Moving on to part two, anatomy of the unwind, or why breaking up is really hard to do. How exactly does a fully funded company get ripped out of a US tech giant's hands after the ink is dried?
Just look at how ridiculously fast this all went down. The sheer speed of this reversal is honestly staggering. December 2025, the deal happens. Just a few months later, in April 2026, China's National Development and Reform Commission, the NDRC, steps in. They use their Foreign Investment Security Review process to completely prohibit the acquisition, citing technology transfer and data concerns. By June, reports were already coming out that Meta had to block Manus staff from its internal systems. And boom, by August, we hit that forced operational split impacting end-user data. I mean, it happened in the blink of an eye.
To really wrap your head around how messy this is, think of it like buying a state-of-the-art factory. You close the deal, you literally move its physical headquarters abroad, you plug all its incredible machines into your network, and you completely combine your engineering teams. But then, a few months later, the original country where that machinery was developed declares the tech strategic and demands the whole factory back. Sure, you can legally separate the corporate entities, but you can't just erase the intimate knowledge your engineers just exchanged, and you definitely can't easily untangle those shared data networks overnight.
Which perfectly sets up part three, the hidden signal. We are entering a totally new era of risk, and you really need to pay attention to this part.
This right here is the absolute core of our explainer.
China's forced unwind of this reported $2 billion deal turns what we call reversibility risk into a core cross-border AI deal risk. Reversibility risk is the chance that a completely finalized transaction might later be forced apart because another jurisdiction suddenly demands it. In this new era of strategic AI, an acquisition is basically never truly closed if the startup's technological roots trace back to a competing jurisdiction. And the cost isn't just massive legal fees, it's the absolute operational nightmare of migrating customers, untangling core products, and dealing with knowledge transfer that has literally already happened.
This reversibility risk completely fractures the old way of doing cross-border AI deals, hitting 4 very specific implications. First, ownership. We now know that simply relocating a startup's HQ does not guarantee a clean exit from its original government's controls. Second, talent. There's the harsh reality that employee knowledge exchanged during integration just cannot be unlearned post-breakup. Third, data. Cross-border data flows are now clearly subject to intense, retroactive national security audits. And finally, technology control. The lineage of the tech, where it was originally coded and developed, matters just as much to regulators as the current incorporation address. So the massive takeaway you should pull from this? A physical headquarters literally does not dictate a company's regulatory identity anymore. Think about Manus. They had moved their HQ to Singapore. They even raised $75 million from an American venture firm. On paper, the deal looked geographically engineered to be completely safe. But assuming legal domicile alone protects a strategic AI deal is a massive, incredibly costly exposure. Its regulatory identity stayed tied to its roots no matter where the mail was delivered.
Finally, let's look at Part 4. Winners, losers, and the ultimate fallout from this unprecedented uncoupled.
When the dust settles, who actually comes out ahead? Well, looking at the winners, Chinese regulators successfully demonstrated their immense reach. They proved they can absolutely influence offshore AI transactions that have Chinese roots. Domestic Chinese platforms might also see a huge benefit if valuable agent technology stays outside of US big jet control. And honestly, Manus itself potentially wins here by regaining its strategic independence. But on the losing side, obviously, Meta loses ownership of a critical, high-growth AI product it was banking on. Meta's users are stuck dealing with disruption and migration hurdles. But perhaps the absolute biggest losers in all of this are global AI startup investors. They are now staring down the barrel of extreme uncertainty, wondering if a future acquisition can actually close, and more importantly, if it can stay closed.
As the United States and China continue to relentlessly restrict one another's access to chips, to capital, and to talent, Manus just got caught right in the crossfire. As these massive governments race to control the data and the know-how built around advanced technology, it leaves us with one massive, lingering question to ponder. In this new era of AI nationalism, where fully completed deals can literally be reversed, who truly holds the keys to the future? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope it helped you wrap your head around the profound impact of this unbelievable reversal.